I'll tell you a little bit about it, okay? I've been on this bike for a while. I made some comments on my first ride, and then I basically, kept the thoughts to myself. But I've decided it's time to explain what I think of the Polygon Helios A9X. $8,999 in Australia in October 2023. Shimano Dura-Ace equipped, and only 2 changes to the spec in the time that I've been riding it, and it's fabulous. I hadn't planned this. Well, I've been thinking about doing it for a while, but I hadn't planned it today. But there's a lot to cover, really, because in the first rides I made a few comments about the Shimano Dura-Ace levers and the Vision handlebars, and I said I was taking a little while to adjust. Now, that was finished null and void by the end of that first ride, and after this many kilometres on the bike over this amount of time, I feel a little bit silly for having made those comments, because the handlebars are fantastic. I've spent so much of the time on this bike down in the drops, you know where the drops are. Riding down there is easy. The bend is perfect on the handlebars, but also this slightly shorter top tube that I'm used to just put me in a great position. I'm going to cut the steer on my bike and get it just a little bit shorter. I think it's about 8mm that I need to trim, because what I've found on this bike is the position that I really like. It's wonderful. I sometimes do creep forward a little bit on the saddle, but that's only, I've said that before on other bikes, and that's sort of, it's not just me who does that. Everyone's doing it when they just want a little bit more, extract a little bit more power. So, I forgot about the plane noise. Anyway, there's going to be plane noise, so I'll try and pause when they're taking off. So the handlebars, absolutely terrific. Like, I can't fault them. The bend is entirely different to what I'm used to. They come forward rather than sweep back, and it basically, forget everything that I said in that first ride video about them being a little bit awkward. They're not awkward. They're really comfortable. They're super duper stiff, and they're actually a real highlight of this bike. Not only are they an expensive product on a well-priced bike, but they're comfortable to ride. The ergonomics are terrific, and yeah, okay, I'm just trying to cover that base. They're very good. It's hard to go beyond the paintwork. It looks terrific just at a glance. I think that's been demonstrated numerous times in the videos that I've shown while I'm riding this bike. The oil slick finish is just, yeah, it's stunning, and it's eye-catching, and it doesn't chip. It seems to be a very, very robust finish. Now, I haven't exactly gone around and tried to chip the paint, but I've also ridden the bike as though it's mine. It's a review bike, and I've got it for an indefinite period of time, so I can do what I want with it. And I've been putting it in and out of camper vans with other bikes. I've bumped it a few times. I've, not just gone and leaned it up against a post or anything, but I can say that it has seen a fraction too much friction against some hard objects. There's not a chip of paint from the bike. So it is, not only is the frame finished beautifully and have a matching seat post, but it's a great, solid, textured, it's not a texture, it's a great, solid, robust finish. And I'm really full of admiration for it, because it looks great, and the last thing I'd want, if this was my bike, is for it to be blemished by just a silly little accident to get some sandstone on the bike. He says sitting on a sandstone brick. Shimano Dura-Ace, can't remember the number, that one. It is, there's big headlines for Shimano at the moment, and it's not exactly for the reason that the company would like. So far, I haven't cracked the cranks. They're stayed together at this point in time. I don't know if these are part of the recall, but I'm not a big fan of Shimano. I don't like the company. I've just got issues with the way that they manage themselves. I think that it's appalling what they've done to bike shops with this recall of the cranks, and I'm sort of lost for words about it, so I just don't really say too much. But other than when I'm riding on this one, with the Dura-Ace, which is the first time I've used this iteration of the Dura-Ace, I'm bloody impressed because it's quiet when it comes to shifting. The cranks are 170. I'm used to 172.5. It's really negligible. I get used to it very quickly. I'm only referencing it just because that's what they came with. That was the spec from Bikes Online. But it was only in the last week where I've sprayed a tiny little bit of lubricant on it. I'm due to do a bit of a degrease because I just like to keep my bikes running smoothly and clean and quietly. But until around the kilometre mark, it was just factory lube, and it was so quiet that I was very impressed. Brakes, right, there's the rotor after so many kilometres of use, and I don't use the front brake terribly often. I'm a rear brake kind of guy, and I'm right on rear, so I'm using this one for the rear brake. And I was saying to a mate of mine the other day I was saying to a mate the other day who's just recently made the switch from rim brakes to disc brakes, and he was telling me how much he loved it. You know, like with these, I'm literally braking. Like I can come down a 60km/h descent and just brake with that finger, and I'm pulling up. It's terrific. Yesterday I had an incident just at the end of a 100km ride, just near my office, and someone decided it'd be a terrific idea just to turn into the left lane without indicating and do so without looking, and did so very quickly. And I was at about 45, 50k an hour, and I avoided any mishap, so that was lucky for me. He may have copped an earful, so he kind of understood that he may have done something wrong. Anyway, let's not get into commentary about traffic. The braking is first class. I can feel that the rotors and the pads are getting a little bit of wear. I'm going to try and get a mechanic's opinion on, you know, just considering the kilometre count that I've done, the amount of riding I do, the terrain that I cover, which has been largely, actually it's been very versatile. I took it out to the country. I rode on country roads, I rode on gravel roads, I rode on rough surfaces and smooth surfaces, and this bike handles it all very, very well. And it means that there's been a little bit of dust and a little bit of gravel and a little bit of grit that gets, and some sand at times that gets onto the rotors and the pads. So I'm going to try and, you know, get a real close-up of that for you and just show the wear, and maybe compare it with my SRAM rotors just to see what it looks like. I'll also take the pads into a mechanic and get them to give me an appraisal on how much life they've got left in them. And if I get an answer before I publish this video, I'll put the I'll add a little bit of a commentary in the comments below. I've mentioned it before, you know, sporadically, that I've changed the tyres. It came with Schwalbe Plug Pros and it came with tubes. I switched them out to 32mm Goodyear Eagle F1s. Yeah, 32mm, tube is complete. Banged in a bit of sealant, not one puncture. Super duper comfy. Matched the bike perfectly. Loads of clearance. Front and rear. And below. Hopefully all that showed up. So, and sideways. Like, I can run a finger through there easily. Is that showing up? See? That thickness too. And so that's all tickety-boo. So the tyres match the bike really, really well. I have switched around tyres a hell of a lot in the last couple of years. So I've used Goodyear, Pirelli, Schwalbe, Bontrager, Continental, Goodyear, yeah, like those. And so far my experiences with Goodyear's only been good. I don't think I've had a puncture with a Goodyear, so that's pretty cool. And I do like yeah, I've been basically 32mm man, if you know what I mean. So I've been using the bigger bag tyres. I have had 28s, 30s, 25s on various bikes over the last couple of years, and I'm running about 61 psi front and rear. It's just that's just where I'm at with my weight, recommendations, the matching of the wheels. The wheels were really, really easy to fit the tubeless to. They have a rubber lining. I did do a video about it. I don't remember publishing it. When I fitted them, very easy, no problems, and they seated straight away, and no problems at all. Just do it yourself. It's piss easy these days. All of that, I've said that before, won't go on about tubeless, but the tubeless does make it roll a hell of a lot better. Since I took the tubes out, the comfort factor, the rollability, the just the getting up to speed just feels a lot more refined, much better than with tubes. So if you're still doing old school, you know, try and embrace the new wave of tyre technology because it's fantastic. The other change on the tyres was a handlebar tape, because what came with the bike was pretty, well, it was rank actually. It was, yeah, I didn't have a ride with it, so never mind that. Saddle. Oh, saddle. It's a Fizik, and I've forgotten the name again. Adaptive, Argo Adaptive, maybe, something like that. It's great. I totally love it. I totally love it. It's got a little trampoline section in the middle. It's made the bike fantastic. It got, again, the saddle that came with the bike, take it or leave it. I actually left it. I didn't chuck it out. It's on the shelf, but, you know, the bike goes back, so will the saddle. And this one will stay with me. Just trying to go through some different things. I've talked about that. It's slightly shorter. The position is great. The feedback that I get through this aero post is like crazy, in the sense that there isn't that much of it, because there's no give in it. Obviously, like, it's not going to be, you know, some of the D-shaped posts that are on, like on my Focus Elco Max, for example. They have a tiny little bit of give in them, and that adds to the comfort factor. But I haven't once thought, oh, I feel really beaten up. And I've had long days on this bike. Like, I went out to Orange on country roads, and I did 170k or so, and I wasn't knocked around. If anything, I was knocked around sort of up front a little bit, because the handlebars are really stiff. But like, that's not a complaint. It's just an observation. It's not that I was getting so much feedback through the saddle and through the aero post that it was hurting. Nothing. Just totally tickety-boo fine. I had some interesting comments after that Orange ride, which was a community one, and people saw me riding it. So people have written to me saying, hey, what's that Polygon like? And I've said, look, it's terrific, and it's great value for money, and that's a key selling point, but it's not the only selling point. And one of the comments was, oh, I'm really interested in it, but I don't know if I don't know if I want to go to a brand that, you know, hasn't got a big presence. And, you know, like so it is a perception, marketing perception. But, you know, Polygon has got a a vast range of bikes. It's an Indonesian company, and it's being distributed in Australia by Bikes Online, which I've referenced before. And you can get it direct, and they come delivered, and you put it together like I've done myself. And then I actually had it checked over by a mechanic when he trimmed the fork for me. And but other than that, I haven't had any need to do any mechanical work on it. It hasn't made a sound. It's still silent. Like, I would say, yeah, after so many weeks of use, nothing's rattling, nothing's giving me any grief. I just, you know, put your preconceptions about a relatively new brand, just throw them away. And if you like the look of this bike and you're keen to have a go, and if you live in Sydney, you're welcome to have a crack at this one. But if you're my size and you ride rear brake on the right-hand side, just drop a note down and we'll get in touch, and I'll see what we can do to try and arrange a test ride. Because I don't think it's just me. I loaned it to a neighbour who had his bike in the workshop. He rides a Cannondale Super 6 with mechanical shifting, and he got off this after a couple of rides and said, look, I don't know if I should be saying it, but I did feel a hell of a lot like I was rolling fast. I was going down hills, which I normally go down, and it just felt quicker. It got up to speed quicker. He's a heavier lad than me, and he was mighty impressed. Similarly, when I was doing the Orange Challenge ride, someone rode up to me and said, "Hey, just I should have realised when I sat near a sign that said Sydney Airport, like that the planes would be taken off." Anyway, when I was doing the Orange Challenge, another guy came up to me and said, "Hey, let's go with that bike because I'm like a little bit heavier than you, and I roll down hills pretty well, and I was pedaling and you came past me on that little downhill section just now. How'd you do that?" I just said, "I think the bike gets up to speed really quickly. Like, it's got beautiful clean lines. The integration of the hoses and the so-called wireless shifting is makes the front end beautiful. It takes away a whole lot of that clunk that used to be around, 10 years ago on bikes, or on cheaper bikes still in this day and age, like my neighbour's Cannondale." And, like, I'm not one to make aerodynamic claims, but I do feel like this bike has served me well in going a little bit quicker with a little bit less effort, because it just handles the winds very well. And that gets me to probably the last topic for this video, and that is the wheels. These are Entity something or others, and they're that deep. I'll run some calipers over, but that looks like 60mm to me. And at a glance at the spec of the Polygon range, you'd say, "Oh, this is actually the top of the line frame, the A9X." Well, it's not. The Helios frame range the frames are the same no matter the bike. So you can get a 105 equipped, Shimano 105 equipped Helios, and it's called something else, the AX. This is the A9X, and you can go up a level from this by spending another $1,000 and getting Shimano C60 wheels, which I said on about my third ride I would never do, because that would be just throwing $1,000 out the window. Number one, I don't like those wheels. I've ridden them, and I just think they're clunky. They don't suit. And I've heard numerous complaints from others. It's not just me and my disdain for Shimano. It's not worth another $1,000. Simple as that. And I heard it said that these wheels, some thought that they weren't that good and they didn't roll and they caught the crosswinds. That's bumpkin as far as I'm concerned. It's bollocks. It doesn't add up to me. These wheels, I've been in some pretty hefty side winds throughout the course of the time on the bike, and never once did I feel a threat. I was in control. They didn't grab the wind. And they roll really nicely. There was no speed wobbles. There was nothing. I don't know why anyone would complain about these wheels, because they're great value. They're strong as could be. I think they've actually. I'm going to do a spoke count. Not right here and now in front of you, because that just takes time. It's cumbersome. But it's got this many spokes, and the Zip 303S's that I've been riding have got this many spokes. So, or maybe it's the same, but I haven't counted while I'm doing this commentary. But these haven't got any rotor rub at all. Out of the saddle, when I'm putting down the power, nothing. So there's no flex in the wheels. They roll really well. They look, tickety-boo. They're fine by my reckoning. And they match the tyres, and they were super easy to fit the tubeless to. So no complaints at all. On the whole, bike, huge thumbs up. Well, my thumb. Big thumbs up. Like, the bike, just terrific. Great value. And really nice people to deal with. And you can't go wrong. If you're thinking about a new bike this summer, have a look. Polygon Helios. You can pick a Helios. Okay. Righto. That's it. Clipping in. Setting off. See you later.